A little Rolling Stones in the morning, huh? Yeah. So, those of you who know me know that I am a tree lover, a tree hugger. Yes, a tree hugger all my life. From sitting high up in any of the many trees in my grandma's backyard, observing the world below, to wrapping my arms around a tree as I walk through the trails near my home. Maybe even leaning up against a tree in my backyard for comfort and sustenance. Even this tree enticed me to explore its upper limbs. See, before I left Dallas, this was a tree that was in the courtyard at the church I had in Dallas. It was beautiful. It spread out over the property and over the street, and the people walking by always enjoyed the shade, especially on those hot summer days, but probably weren't quite sure of where the source of their shade came from. That it was the immense spirit of this live oak that shaded this whole street. And it truly was magnificent. So I kept a promise that I had made to myself to climb the tree to see everything from the tree's perspective. And this is what I saw. I was looking down onto the ground of the church. And it was so magnificent to just lay across the limbs of the tree and spend an afternoon there. Yes, I had somebody on the ground just in case, you know, and they wouldn't venture up into the tree with me, but it was good to have somebody there. I have been the beneficiary of the energy that trees are willing to share. They're so willing and share so effortlessly. Just being near them or touching them, I can feel the energy flowing from them, and they share with anyone who's willing to receive it. So when I think about how we as humans might learn from the trees or from these beautiful living beings, there's a few things that come to my mind. A tree doesn't stop spreading its roots because something got in the way. It doesn't matter what the obstacle is. The tree's roots continue to grow. Has anyone ever had the roots of a tree penetrate a water line? Or they don't stop because a building is built. Have you ever had a foundation crack because the roots of a tree? And as I track the roots of the trees in my backyard, they start underground, and some of them come up above the ground only to go back into the ground a little further. And the tree roots grow as long and broad and thick as they need to support the life of the tree above ground. They never say, "Oh, that's just too difficult. That's really hard. Oh, I can't do anymore." They never say, "Oh, I don't have the strength to do this. I'm going to stop here. I don't know how much further I can go, but this is it for now." They never say, "I'm afraid of failing, so I'm going to stop and be comfortable right where I am." They never say that. And the limbs and the branches don't stop growing until they've reached their capacity, until they've reached their fullness. They never stop shy of their greatness. The branches bend and twist and even intertwine with other trees to grow. When I look up, there's a couple of places in my yard where you can see those branches all mixed together, all making room for one another. It's a beautiful sight. And a really cool thing is about these trees is they grow simultaneously into the depth of the earth and reach high for the sky all at the same time. They don't stop. And we can learn so much from being like a tree. And we might ask, why bother? It's a tree. What would we learn? For me, trees give without reservation, without condition, or without hesitation of their energy. They just pour it out. It's there. You can feel it. And I wonder what my life might be like and what our world might be like if I did the same. If I just gave, just because. If I just let my energy, whatever good energy might be rolling around in me, what would happen if I dared to be like that tree? What if I grew inward to experience that intimate, deep union with my source as much as I could, a little more each day? And what if we too grew upward and outward to experience that amazing transcendent nature of the divine, that experience of the divine that no matter how far my mind or my imagination might take me, I don't even come close to touching the edges of the infinite? What if I allowed that? How might the world change? And we bear fruit from our practices of going deep within to questioning and poking and asking about this faith that we carry. Is it true for me today? Do I believe today that God is present everywhere? Do I believe that today when I look at my world? Do I believe that everybody is born with that spark of divinity when I see really unpleasant things happening? And humanity being nothing short of cruel to one another. Do I still believe that? But that's what gives me strength of faith. And then we produce fruits from all of this growth. And Galatians chapter 5 tells us specifically that we will be known by our fruits. We will be known by the fruit that we bear, and the world will know us as such. So an olive tree never produces peaches, and a peach tree never produces plums. So if we are harboring and growing resentment and hatred and unkindness, that's what we're going to experience. And yet, if we are nurturing and growing the loving compassion and kindness, guess what? That's going to be the fruit of our efforts. Each tree produces of their kind, and we living are known by that fruit, our fruits of spirit. And they are shared with us. These are attributes and qualities that we exude: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I just imagine what a day might look like if I'm actually manifesting all of those qualities. I will speak for myself, I get glimpses of them, small doses of them, but I wonder if I express love in all of its fullness. And this love is that agape love that is our choice. We choose to love. We choose to be the presence of love in spite of or because of what we see in the world is not feeling very loving or kind. We choose to be love anyway. I call this love into mind when I officiate a marriage by asking the couples to commit to one another, to step beyond the boundaries of self, and to make a commitment to one another. In times when the other remembers their light and expresses that light, and in times when the other doesn't. We make a commitment to our children by loving them through their expanding boundaries, by their exploration and their curiosities, through those wonderful teen years where they're pushing the boundaries of everything, including us. And we love them through all of that. We can make that commitment to love in all of our relationships when we give that love unconditionally. We love others in their dark moments, and we walk with them. And they say, I might not understand your pain, I might not understand your suffering or trauma, but I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to walk with you until you find your light again. That's the kind of love. To be present while others find their love, knowing that the day will come when someone is going to walk with me when I've forgotten my light until I get back to it. It's a love that says, I don't have answers for your life. I barely have answers for my own, but I'm here beside you, and I'm going to be anyway. Yes. And then we move into that fruit of joy. There's a saying that says, gratitude isn't the result of joy, but joy is the result of gratitude. When we live with a grateful heart, it's really difficult not to be joyful, because our joy comes from the recognition of the goodness that's in our life. And that doesn't mean that everything feels good and comfortable all the time. That means that even when I'm experiencing upset, disappointment, I can still find a lot to be grateful for. Even if it's, I woke up this morning. Yes. Even if it's, I woke up in a warm home this morning. I woke up this morning in a home and I have a refrigerator full of food. Those are small things, but we take for granted. But there's joy in knowing that Spirit allows us to flow. The joy is beyond any sense of happiness or contentment in the circumstances of the world, because this world is not going to give us our joy. It just isn't. That's not what the world is for. We find that joy within us. We find that joy from that deep part of us that knows without doubt that we are beloved of God every single moment. When we have those wonderful spiritual thoughts, and when we have those thoughts that, well, we don't want to share in church, huh? We have those thoughts, we all do. We get that joy from knowing without doubt we are one with our source. There is no way we can be separate. We are that source. Everyone here is. We get this source of joy from knowing that we live in the flow of the infinite. That flow of the infinite that is so beautiful and expansive. We live in that flow. It's the flow that gives us stability and serenity and gives us peace. And it's that peace that is that quiet restfulness when we are attuned to the divine and our divinity, regardless of what circumstances are happening outside. The word peace is equivalent to the Hebrew shalom, the idea of wholeness, the idea of completeness and tranquility. And we find that when we are willing to welcome all of ourselves, not just the pretty parts that we show in church on Sunday, but the less pretty parts that show up Monday morning, Wednesday afternoon, Friday rush hour traffic, those parts too. When we love and welcome all of that, that's our wholeness. That's the totality of us. We experience order rather than chaos. When we carry that sense of peacefulness within us, our outer life reflects that. And John chapter 14 says, Jesus told his folks, Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you, not that the world gives, but as I give to you. So don't let your heart be troubled. Don't let it be afraid. We bear the fruit of patience. That's an interesting one. So patience is sometimes called long suffering, and it might feel like suffering to be patient. Endurance and forbearance and fortitude. It's our spiritual power of strength that allows us to stay in our faith, to continue our spiritual journey, and carry on. It looks sometimes like settling. It looks sometimes to some people like giving up, but it's not. It's allowing the perfect order of the universe to flow to us in the right and perfect time. It's remembering that it's not my clock and not my calendar. The universe has the big clock and the big calendar, and I can fit into that. I can allow the universe to move, trusting that I believe that the entirety of the universe is always supporting my good. And I can see that. This fruit of patience calls us back to that fruit of love, because love is patient, love is kind, love doesn't dishonor. And such is the fruit of patience. And kindness and goodness, they're often considered the same because kindness is the action of goodness inside us. So when our goodness is evoked and we are in touch with that kindness, is how we show that. It's the ability to act on the behalf of another, regardless of their behavior. Regardless of their behavior. So can we be kind to ourselves when our behavior is less than perfect? Because that's where it begins. How can I be kind to any of you if I'm not kind to myself? So I practice that kindness when I slip and make a mistake. I can look at others with understanding and compassion and behave in kind ways, even when their behaviors are looking some kind of way. And we see that in our world. We see that every day. We hear it in the news, and yet we can move in kindness, not out of obligation, but because it's the right thing to do. Not out of debt or expecting something in return, but because it's the right thing to do. When we choose to bear that fruit of kindness, kindness is doing something without expectation of return. You know, those random acts of kindness that we used to always talk about, that I don't hear them so much anymore. Then we move to our faithfulness, and we can rely on our faith. It allows us to be dependable, that if we're in a business transaction, people can count on us to do what we say we're going to do and do it well. When we grow in our faithfulness, we might start out a little bit shaky. We don't have evidence of the fruits of our faith. We might not feel confidence. But once we've lived and we can look back on our life and we can see, because we were faithful in this journey, this and such happened. We can see the evidence of standing in our faith. Others know they can depend on us. So we prove ourselves trustworthy as we can see the world supporting us. And we love this fruit of gentleness, often called meekness. It's a temperament of being even-tempered, not highly volatile in our expressions, not pretentious. Persons who enjoy this fruit of gentleness forgive easily and let go and release easily. But it's not to be confused with weakness, because meekness is actually power and strength. We are able to control ourselves and be in charge of ourselves. Doesn't mean we don't have feelings and thoughts, but we can nurture them privately. If anger rises, we don't have to act from that. We can investigate that at another time. A person demonstrating this fruit of gentleness corrects their faults, makes amends, and guides their spirit. And then finally is that fruit of self-control. It's having strong mastery over ourself, and we're able to be in charge of our thinking, of our words, and of our actions. It's not to imply we don't have them, because we certainly do. It's what we do with them. Anger comes for a purpose. Often anger comes as a warning for us. And I've been a long time believer that our feelings come for a good purpose. They don't come to harm us. They come to alert us. They come to inform us. There's work for us to do in this area. When I feel angry, I get to explore that. I can choose not to, but I can explore that and heal whatever is under the anger, what fear lies under there. And when we practice our self-control, we demonstrate the power of dominion over our thinking, over our being. And we can then show up in our world in a way we choose to, not by default. It's my belief, too, that we can only share from the overflow of these fruits. We can't share from a half-empty cup. So if my heart is heavy with resentment, I can't share the fruit of love or kindness. It's the overflow that goes out into the world. The same with patience. If I'm impatient with myself and don't have the desire to allow that to unfold, I'm not going to be sharing patience with the world. So this week, notice and be conscious of how these fruits of spirit show up for you, how they move in you, and how you allow them to move out into the world as you overflow with each and every one of them. The peace, the love, the faithfulness, the gentleness, the kindness and goodness, the joy and the self-control. And as always, we live in accordance with 1 Corinthians 16:14. Say it with me if you would. Let all you do be done with love. Namaste.